Stop and listen, because this message did not reach you by accident. There is a reason your heart paused when you saw these words. There is a reason your spirit leaned in before your mind even understood why. Tonight, Archangel Michael comes near with a message that feels old and new at the same time, because what has been hidden in your past is not lost, and what you thought had been forgotten has not been erased. A hidden answer is stirring, and the silence that has surrounded it is about to break. Do not skip this. Do not turn away too quickly. Something important is moving behind the veil, and before this night is over, you may realize that heaven has been arranging a revelation long before you were ready to receive it. Type Amen if you know God has been working in the unseen. For so long you have lived with the weight of unfinished questions. You prayed, then waited. You hoped, then waited longer. You asked, then received silence that felt heavier than a no. And somewhere along the way, a part of you began to wonder if the answer had slipped away forever. But there is something else you need to know. Heaven does not forget what it has already heard. The prayers you whispered in tears, the questions you could not even say out loud, the moments when you sat in stillness and stared at the ceiling because your heart was too full to speak, none of it vanished into emptiness. It was recorded, it was kept, it was heard. And now, at an appointed hour you did not choose but heaven did, the hidden message from your past is beginning to surface. Comment still standing if you believe God kept every prayer. Michael stands as a witness to the battles you never saw. He sees the unseen resistance that pressed against your hope, the discouragement that tried to convince you your season of waiting had become your permanent state. He sees the nights when you almost gave up believing, when disappointment sat beside your bed like a silent visitor. He sees the ache of wondering why the answer was delayed, why certain doors stayed closed, why certain people did not understand your burden. But even now there is more happening than you realize. The delay was not empty. The delay was protecting something. The delay was positioning something. And the answer, the real answer, has been moving through hidden corridors where your frustration could not reach it. Type 1, believe if you are ready to see beyond the delay. Tonight carries a different kind of atmosphere. If you have felt the air around your life changing, if you have sensed a quiet tension mixed with hope, that is not your imagination. It is a sign, it is the kind of sign that appears just before heaven reveals what was sealed. Like a lamp burning in a dark room, your spirit has been kept lit even when everything around you looked dim. That lamp did not survive by accident. It was sustained by grace. And now the night is revealing what day could not. There are stars appearing after a storm in your life, tiny confirmations one by one, and they are not random. A phrase someone says, a name that reappears, a memory you thought was irrelevant returning with strange force. Do not ignore this part. The next revelation changes everything. Type 777 if you know divine timing is at work. There is an old prayer connected to your past that never stopped breathing. You may have buried it beneath responsibility, pain, busyness, or the pressure to appear fine, but heaven did not bury it. Heaven preserved it. And what was preserved is beginning to tremble with life again. A hidden message from your past does not always mean a forgotten person or a long-lost opportunity. Sometimes it means the key to your present was spoken over you years ago, and you are only now ready to understand it. That childhood dream, that private hope, that one sentence someone said that stayed with you for years, it may have carried more authority than you knew. Keep reading carefully, because the message is not simply resurfacing to remind you of what was lost. It is resurfacing to show you what was never truly gone. Comment I trust God if you believe your story is not over. You may have noticed signs that seemed too small to matter, a dream that repeated, A song that found you at the exact moment your heart felt weak. A random memory that returned with unusual clarity. A conversation that suddenly echoed something from your past. These are not accidents. They are threads, and heaven has been weaving them together while you were busy surviving one day at a time. There is a hidden decision already in motion, and you may not yet know all the details, but the shift has begun. The door is not opening with noise. It is unlocking in silence. That is why it has been difficult to detect with ordinary eyes. But listen closely. What is being prepared for you is not small, and it is not late. It is timed with precision. Type faith if you are holding on for the appointed hour. Before we continue, I feel led to share something with you. Over the years, thousands of people have reached out asking for powerful prayers they could pray during difficult seasons of life. That's why I put together a collection of some of the most powerful faith-building prayers I know. These prayers have helped people find peace during anxiety, strength during hardship, and hope when they felt like giving up. The best part is that I decided to make it completely free. If you would like a copy, simply check the link in the description, and I'll send it to you. Do not wait until another difficult season arrives. Take it now while it's available and keep it close for the days ahead. Now, there is something else you need to know. Michael's presence in this message is not to frighten you, but to remind you that heaven has not left you defenseless in the waiting season. There were battles behind the scenes you did not name. Battles over your confidence, your focus, your endurance, your willingness to keep hoping after repeated disappointment. Every time you nearly surrendered to the lie that nothing would change, something in you resisted. That resistance was not your own strength alone. It was protection. It was divine shielding. It was a hand unseen keeping your heart from collapsing under the weight of the delay. And now that same protection is surrounding the revelation that is approaching. Something was hidden from you for a reason, but now the reason is nearing its end. What happens next is important. Stay with this. Act protected if you know heaven has guarded you in ways you could not see. The silence of God is often misunderstood by people who only measure by sound. But heaven speaks in seasons, and some seasons must mature before they can produce their answer. Your past has been like a sealed chamber, holding a message that could only be opened when your spirit was ready to carry it. If it had come earlier, it may have overwhelmed you. If it had come too soon, you may have misread it. But tonight is different. Tonight, the lamp is burning brighter. Tonight, the scroll is stirring open. Tonight, what seemed frozen is beginning to move. There is more happening than you realize, and the answer you have been asking for may be much closer than the waiting has led you to believe. Comment ready if your heart is preparing for revelation. Remember how many times you asked the same question in different ways. Sometimes it was a prayer. Sometimes it was a sigh. Sometimes it was just tears falling in the dark because words had run out. You were not weak for asking again. You were human. You were carrying a hope so delicate that every delay felt like a wound, and yet you kept going. You kept showing up. You kept believing when belief felt expensive. That is why this message matters so deeply. Heaven sees endurance. Heaven honors the soul that has waited without losing itself completely. There is a hidden blessing inside the very delay that frustrated you. The answer coming now is not merely an answer. It is confirmation that your waiting was seen, your tears were counted, and your season was never ignored. Type 1 receive if you are open to what heaven has preserved for you. There is also something you need to understand about old messages resurfacing. Sometimes they return through people who once knew you. Sometimes they return through forgotten paperwork, unexpected calls, letters, digital traces, or a conversation that seems casual but carries spiritual weight. Sometimes the past resurfaces in a way that makes you stop and stare because you can feel destiny moving under the surface. If this has been happening around you, do not dismiss it. Pay attention. A name may reappear. A memory may suddenly feel prophetic. A situation may echo an old promise. These are not random loops. They are signals that the answer is approaching from a direction you did not expect. Before long, you may understand why tonight was chosen. Type blessed if you sense heaven opening hidden pathways. Do not underestimate the pressure that came against you while you waited. Confusion tried to become your companion. Discouragement tried to sound wise. Patience felt like weakness when everyone else seemed to be moving. And perhaps the hardest battle was not simply believing in the answer, but believing in yourself long enough to receive it. Yet, heaven never stopped calling you chosen. Heaven never changed its mind about your story. The hidden message resurfacing now is not only about the thing you asked for, it is about the version of you who had to survive the waiting in order to carry the blessing. There is a future revelation tied to your identity, and the question is not whether heaven heard you. The question is whether you are ready to see how perfectly the answer fits the person you have become. Comment God is working if that speaks to your spirit. Every so often, a night arrives that feels ordinary on the surface, but extraordinary in the spirit. That is this kind of night. Not because every question is answered at once, but because the atmosphere shifts before the evidence does. You may still see some things through a glass darkly, but the outline is beginning to form. The lamp in your room, in your spirit, in your prayer life, is not going out. It is being fed by invisible oil, and the stars that appear after the storm are not decoration. They are direction. They tell you where hope lives after the darkness has passed. There is a reason you cannot fully release this season yet. There is a reason your heart keeps turning toward the same unresolved place. Something is there, something is approaching. Stay until the end of this message, because the next part carries a key you do not want to miss. Type 333 if you believe heaven is aligning hidden things. Sometimes the answer from your past is tied to a promise that seems to have been dormant for years. You may have thought it died when the circumstances changed, or when the person involved disappeared, or when the dream did not unfold the way you expected. But God is not limited by the shape of the original season. He can resurrect meaning from what looked incomplete. He can speak again from what was left unfinished. He can bring forward a hidden purpose that you would never have seen if everything had gone according to your plan. And that is why tonight matters. A hidden message may surface not to restore the past exactly as it was, but to redeem it into something greater than you imagined. The next revelation is not merely about remembering. It is about reinterpreting. Type yes, Lord, if you are ready to let God redefine what the past means. Many people watching this message have been carrying burdens they never talk about. If that sounds like you, I want to give you something special. I created a free prayer guide filled with powerful prayers for protection, breakthrough, peace, healing, and strength. Thousands of believers have already downloaded it and shared how much it encouraged them during difficult moments. There is absolutely no cost. I simply wanted to place this resource into the hands of people who need it most. If you feel led, go to the description and claim your free copy before continuing. One prayer prayed at the right moment can change more than you realize. Now listen carefully because the next part of this message is important. Michael is showing this because some of you have been standing at a crossroads between surrender and expectation. You have felt the pull to stop hoping, to stop asking, to stop looking for signs. But something in you kept turning back toward the promise. That is not weakness. That is spiritual memory. Your soul remembers what heaven spoke even when your mind gets tired of waiting. And now the conversation that began long ago is nearing its turning point. A heavenly decision has already been made, though the full details may not yet be visible. There are hidden approvals moving across your life like ink on a sealed document. You cannot see the final signature yet, but the authority is already there. The breakthrough is closer than the silence suggests. Do not let the long night fool you. Comment "My time is coming" if you believe the season is shifting. There is something deeply personal about the way God sometimes answers. He does not always shout. Sometimes he arranges a moment so precise that only the prepared heart recognizes it. A message arrives at the right hour. A person says exactly what you needed. A door opens without force. A piece of the puzzle lands softly into place. That is what makes this kind of revelation so powerful. It does not simply inform you, it restores your trust. It tells you that even when you were unsure, heaven was not. Even when you were tired, heaven was faithful. Even when you could not trace the path was being laid under your feet. And now the hidden message from your past is beginning to surface so that you can stop interpreting your life through disappointment and start seeing it through divine timing. Type Amen if you know God's timing never misses. I need you to hear this clearly. The answer may not arrive exactly as your pain imagined it, but it will arrive with enough truth to change your perspective. That is part of the miracle. Sometimes what you prayed for and what heaven prepares are related, but the second is wiser, stronger, and deeper than the first. So if your heart has been nervous tonight, if you have felt both hope and fear rising together, do not be ashamed of that tension. It means something sacred is near. Hidden messages often surface in seasons when the soul is ready to receive more than relief. It is ready for clarity, and clarity can feel like sunrise after a very long night. The darkness does not fight the dawn forever. It yields. It has to. Come chosen if you are ready for the light to break in. There may be a conversation coming that will feel strangely familiar, as if you heard it first in a dream or sensed it in your spirit months ago. Do not dismiss the familiar. Sometimes heaven repeats itself because your human heart needs another chance to catch what it missed before. A message hidden in your past can return through the simplest means, but its impact will be anything but small. It can vindicate you. It can restore your hope. It can reveal that what you thought was a closed chapter was really a held breath. And once that breath is released, everything begins to move. Keep your heart open. Keep your mind steady. Keep your spirit awake. Something unexpected is approaching, and when it arrives, you will understand why patience was not punishment but preparation. Type 1, believe if you are ready for the release. Now the atmosphere is changing again. The waiting is not over, but the burden of waiting is beginning to loosen. That is a sign. Not all at once, not with fireworks, but with a holy softening. The tightness in your chest, the constant replaying of old disappointments, the fear that you were being overlooked, these are starting to lose their grip. That does not mean every question has been answered. It means heaven is making room for the answer, and when the answer comes, it will reveal more than information. It will reveal intention. It will show you that God was involved in every detail, even the ones that seemed random or painful. There is another truth being revealed here. Your past was not merely a place you survived. It was a place where God stored evidence of His faithfulness for the moment you would need it most. Type faith if you can feel that turning point coming. Do not leave yet, because this is where many hearts miss the moment. The hidden message resurfacing is not only for your comfort, it is for your assignment. There is a reason heaven wants you to remember now. What comes next in your life requires a settled heart. It requires confidence. It requires you to stop questioning whether you were ever truly heard. Once you know that heaven kept the message, you can walk differently. You can pray differently. You can expect differently. And expectation itself becomes a doorway. The stars after the storm are not simply pretty. They are witness. They are proof that darkness did not get the final word. There is a coming day when you will look back and realize this night was a hinge in your story. Comment still standing if you know the storm did not break you. As this revelation closes in, the old ache may rise one last time. That is often what happens before a breakthrough. The fear that you waited for nothing can surface right before evidence arrives that you waited for something real. Do not panic. Do not retreat. This is not the moment to let exhaustion speak louder than promise. The lamp has not gone out. The scroll is not sealed forever. The door is not locked beyond hope. Heaven is moving in silence, and silence is not absence. If anything, Silence can be the quiet before a holy unveiling. Stay attentive. Stay prayerful. Stay expectant. The hidden answer from your past is not slipping away. It is drawing near with purpose, and when it comes, it may touch a year of waiting in a single instant. Type ready if your spirit is bracing for holy news. And now, as we come near the end of this message, let the weight of it settle into your heart. You were never forgotten in the waiting. You were never ignored in the silence. You were never left alone in the valley of unanswered prayers. Heaven heard, heaven kept, heaven prepared, and tonight may be the night the hidden message from your past begins to resurface in a way that changes the way you see your entire journey. Keep your eyes open. Keep your heart soft. Keep your faith alive. The answer is closer than it felt yesterday, and the next revelation may come sooner than expected. If this word has found you, then it found you for a reason. Comment "I receive" and let heaven know you are ready for what comes next. Before you leave, remember that my free prayer collection is waiting for you in the description below. Thousands of people have already downloaded it and used these prayers during seasons of anxiety, uncertainty, spiritual battles, and breakthrough. I made it completely free because I want every believer to have access to powerful prayers when they need them most. If this message encouraged you today, make sure you claim your free copy before you go. And if this message spoke to your heart, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and leave your prayer request in the comments so this community can stand with you in faith. May God bless you, strengthen you, and guide every step ahead.